dude.
How you doing, Mayor?
Good, how are you?
Good to see you.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Ready for this?
Today's topic is going to be marijuana.
Woo! That's fun. Do we get joints?
That's our favorite topic. I mean, this is what we do for a living.
Yeah, for sure.
I consume recreationally, and I also work in the industry. My job is to go sell weed legally.
So I'm the mayor for the city of Adelanto. I can confidently say we have the largest indoor cultivation space in the nation.
I am the city manager for the city of Adelanto. We are the ones that pioneered the cannabis industry into our city.
I've been smoking weed for at least since I was like 18.
I think I've been smoking weed about the same amount of time. I was against it for a long time until I think I started in college, and that's when I first smoked my first joint. We were going to a Model UN conference in Santa Barbara, and one of my teammates, he's Australian Vietnamese. The day before our conference, he's like, hey, I have weed. Do you want to go smoke? And we were like, yeah. That's when he gave me my first joint. I know I didn't get high because I did not want to eat everything around me.
My first experience with weed, I had a crush on a girl and she had weed. And she was a chola. She was like, Luis, we're graduating. Don't be a bitch, fool. And I was like, let me take a hit. And I smoked a little bit. I didn't know what I was doing. I think it did hit me because shortly after, I did want some hot Cheetos.
Being Latino, having traditional parents, right? It's gonna kill your brain cells. It's all the same traditional, typical type of stuff growing up. But what else is a parent to do, right? But always try to steer their kids in the right direction.
My mom and my parents were always like, you do not do that.
It was like, no, es para el diablo. No, don't be smoking no weed. Until I smoked weed and I was like, what? And once I turned 18, I was like, all right, this is a whole new element of life. I don't think I've ever had like that I was tripping out or anything like that. If anything, I was just chill, happy, in a good mood.
I mean, we all have an edible story, right? Of like taking too much edibles or too many milligrams. I was able to get my hands on like a chocolate bar. And not knowing any better, I ate half of the bar and it was like 2 times the strength, which was insane. Mind you, this was like at 10 p.m. when I ate this thing, and I had a flight to go back home like at 6 in the morning. Woke up, eyes bloodshot red. I felt like I was like on the clouds. Let's just say that I don't remember getting through TSA or any of that. I just remember being on the flight and asking the flight attendant, being like, can I have 2 bags of cookies and a coffee, please? And I thought that was gonna make me feel better, and it did. So I think that's the worst, but I mean, it's pretty fun.
In the morning, then usually in the afternoon, then a little nightcap at night, and then once, if I can't sleep, then I'm like, you know what? Let's have that late night one.
I consume cannabis on a daily basis. I try to not smoke during the day, so I love coming home and just doing the whole routine of like rolling up a joint and smoking. And then during the weekend, since I'm not at work, I like to, start off my morning with a nice joint and a cup of coffee, to be quite honest. I think the reason why there's a double standard is because of lack of education. If I didn't go into the industry, or if I didn't experience that or explore that avenue myself, I don't think I would have ever been able to educate my parents and my family on the benefits of it.
I feel like it's a protective mechanism where it's like, you're gonna get in trouble if you smoke weed and you're gonna go to jail. That was always like my experience, like just do what you gotta do, but don't get in trouble. And weed equals trouble. But then it was legalized.
I've heard so many amazing stories of how it's healed and it's worked on the medical component. There's people who have fought for our country, who are vets and don't feel as comfortable being seen, going to a dispensary and partaking of it, but it does so much good for their PTSD. And as it continues to evolve and it continues to get better, the more light will get shined on the educational side of it.
You've got Prop 215, which is what was initiated in the early days, and then Prop 64, which is for recreational use, and the 215 is for medical. I think it's really challenging to gauge, how many are consuming for recreational purposes and medical purposes. And besides that, who are we to judge, right?
Society has changed a lot when it comes to cannabis. I think when I first started smoking, when I was like 18, 19 years old, you had to hide. No one knew you smoked weed. If you did, people would judge you.
It used to be criminalized so much where it's like if you smoke weed, then you're a hoodlum or something like that.
There wasn't many various different type of lingos and brands and everything else. There was stress, chronic, and kush. Nowadays, there's sativa and indica and hybrids.
Now we have legal dispensaries that look like candy stores when you walk in. And you have all kinds of people coming in. You know, people that are using it for recreational purposes and just to get high, which is okay. And then there's people that are, you know, look at it for medicinal purposes.
There's a lot of different ways you can consume weed now. Some people just do edibles, there's drinks, there's literally something for everyone. And decriminalizing just, it's opened up so many doors because it's like, there's nothing wrong with smoking weed.
Their opinion has changed greatly. When I started working in the industry, I had to hide the fact that I was working in the cannabis industry. I had to tell them that I was working at some law office. That was 4 years ago. And to now, it's completely different. I'm openly talking about it to, you know, family members and saying like, oh, this is what my daughter does now.
I think my parents haven't really changed because their opinions of how they see weed, but they don't really like want to try it. They wanted to do the alcohol thing. You know, I don't know what that's about, putting weed in alcohol.
That's an old school tincture.
I was like, all right, let me bring you an eighth. And he just put it in there. And my mom was like, I can't believe people smoke this. I can't even smell it.
I believe social media has played a major role and has created a positive impact in getting the message out that cannabis is no longer viewed as a Schedule I drug.
That stigma of like only lazy people smoke weed, like you don't do anything, you know, all day, every day. When in fact, there's a lot of, you know, high functioning people in really great positions, you can say in terms of a job, that function with cannabis.
They just need to get more educated on what it is and what the pros and cons are.
This is a $75 billion industry, and over 30 states have already embraced it. So we've only just begun. It's just a matter of time before all 51 states embrace the entire industry.
I think you should just get a whole United States box and hot box the whole thing and then have just a big old smoke out. Maybe invite Cheech and Chong, you know what I'm saying? Get the good stuff. And then America will be like, what that?
I mean, there's a lot of things that Cheech and Chong did that would not be considered, okay now.
What was it like to make, content about cannabis?
Neither one of us was like real down and out potheads like we showed. We're actors. But when we found out it worked, well, doesn't take a genius to figure out that's what you're going to be doing. Give the people what they want.
Why do you think those pot jokes resonated so much in America?
Bob Dylan, he came up to Vancouver. And a lot of musicians would come up to Vancouver, the jazz musicians especially. And that's where the drug culture came from. A jazz musician gave me a joint and a Lenny Bruce record at the same time. And that changed my life,
What was the kind of like the backlash from your first couple of movies? Did you get a lot of angry parents?
Parents used to love us. A lot of families I talked to, they grew up, driving to school, put the Cheech and Chong tape on, kept everybody cool going to school. And it brought families together.
How you've seen just the culture around pot change over the last 30 years.
The reason it's changing is that people come in all colors, all sizes, and we all belong here. And the only thing that we're having in common is our love for cannabis. No matter what happens, it'll always be here.
I don't smoke weed.
I smoke weed. I don't smoke weed.
Rarely, once in a blue moon.
I got to smoke some weed, yes.
I've smoked weed for maybe like 10 years now.
Since 2012, 2013.
Since I was 12.
Culture around weed is way more common and accepted and relaxed now than when I was a kid.
I feel like back then it was more like secretive. Like people were like hiding that they smoke weed. Now people just smoke in public.
you see them changing, and like obviously it's posted with like CBD and like all the medical benefits of it. But also too, you have like my grandparents, you know, saying like, no, it's like the devil.
I feel like people are more open to weed because of social media.
And now everyone smokes, and like people are more willing to try.
All the people that have been really like trying to make weed better and everything, that's what really changed the whole.
As soon as like one state went legal, I feel like the industry kind of took off because people found money in it. And now that it's able to make so much money, I think it's even more common than it ever would have been.
Takeaway, I would say, is educate yourselves and don't be afraid of experimenting with cannabis. Smoke with your parents if you can. You know, educate them, and the world would be a better place.
I cannot believe how much we've been able to accomplish in such a short period of time. Come to Adelanto, it's the place to do business.
And we love the proper education of this industry. Learn what's really going on with cannabis. Not marijuana, not weed. We're talking about the cannabis and really bringing it back to what it was and what it was meant to be.
In conclusion, just smoke weed y no le hagas de pedo, fool.
Hey guys, it's Mike T, director for Latinos Talk. Today I learned that number one, Tommy Chong is just as cool in person as you think he would be. Big shout out to him for being on the show. We've come a long way from the days when cannabis was the devil's lettuce, and I'm really happy that we as a society have seen that it has way more benefits than any perceived cons. If you're on the fence about cannabis, talk about it in the comments, let us know your thoughts. And also, if you're having a rough day, take this as a sign to just smoke a joint, chill out for a little bit. We'll see you guys next time.